Hello everyone, welcome to a Godzilla review. Yes, I finally saw the new Godzilla movie, 7 o'clock release last night, and here's my ticket to prove it. They give out these little paper tickets where I go, as opposed to the little cardboard ones you normally get, which is fine. Save themselves a little bit of money, but both tickets and concessions still cost 2 souls and half my wallet, but what are you gonna do? Anyways, I'm not here to talk about that, I'm here to talk about Godzilla. Now, it's been getting rave reviews, like way more better reviews than I was expecting it to get. I was expecting to get kind of like middle of the road reviews. I know Metacritic at least is giving it that anyway, but Metacritic, who cares about Metacritic? No one. Metacritic is the most irrelevant, like, in my opinion anyway, is the most irrelevant review source there is. I don't pay attention to Metacritic at all. At this point, Rotten Tomatoes has it at 75%. Approval rating, and that's awesome. But what I think of Godzilla, what I personally have to say, is it was incredible. I loved it a lot. I have to say that one thing about it is it's very much like the original Gojira. If you've seen the original Gojira, you know what I mean by how many times Godzilla actually appears in it. That's not a major spoiler. If you see the original Godzilla, like the Japanese version of the original movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. Basically what this movie's like, it's a disaster movie and it's about the characters, and Godzilla and the other monsters are basically what's causing the disaster, and they're a part of the background, really. Like in most disaster movies, the hurricane, they're basically the tornadoes and hurricanes of this movie. They're what's causing everything that's going wrong. And I've seen some reviews where people are saying may or may not be another monster. There is other monsters in this movie. It's been the advertisements. There's Godzilla, and then there's Muto, or Muto as these sometimes called. It's not a spoiler that people say that he's in it. They have toys of him. They have toys of Muto or Muto. Not a spoiler, people, let's be real here. And sort of like how people saying Godzilla using his atomic breath is a spoiler. It's not. Again, one of the toys has him using his atomic breath. Not a spoiler. And it's been in press releases over and over again that he will, in fact, use it. Press releases, whatever, I don't know what it's called, but you know what I mean. He does use his atomic breath, and there is another monster in this movie. And it's all incredible. It's all worth seeing. It's not high stakes, Pacific Rim type action though. This is very much an old school giant kaiju film. It is a slow burn type of movie. If you're not into that, you're probably not going to like this movie. This is not the type of movie that's going to bring you into it. But I do think this can spark interest in new generation of Godzilla fans. I'll tell you this though, when Godzilla did in fact use his atomic breath, the theater that I was in, everyone applauded. And even I did too. I was like, wow. I was actually almost not expecting him to use it because there's a lot of like build up to it. And I'm just thinking he's not going to use it. At this point, why is he going to use it? And then you see his spikes on his back start glowing, and then it's just like, oh my god, he's going to use it. And when he did, I was like ecstatic. This movie was unbelievable. This is everything the original Godzilla movie should have. Not original Godzilla movie. Then Roland Emmerich movie should have been. The Roland Emmerich movie may appeal to a wider audience because it does have a lot more action in it. But this one will appeal to straight up Godzilla fans, like myself. I've watched Godzilla since I was a kid, and this satisfied me in a great amount. Like, I had this stupid smile on my face. Like, it was bigger than it was. I smiled more in this than I did in Pacific Rim, and I love Pacific Rim. I still do love Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim was a great homage to giant monster movies, and this is a great, just in general, giant monster movie. Excuse me a second, please. Now, would I see it again? Oh, of course I'll see Godzilla again. Whether it be tonight, whether it be sometime next week, I do want to see Godzilla again. This is, right now, my favorite movie of the year. This and The Raid are the two movies that I can vouch for this year. The Raid 2 was awesome, and this is just incredible. The Raid had more action in it, but this one touches my heart a bit more. This is more of a character piece. This is about the characters and their struggle to survive while Godzilla and the other monster are causing destruction everywhere. Just so you know, the advertisements are a bit misleading. There are some scenes in the movie that aren't there. Like in the original trailer when when he's doing the briefing thing, he's like being sent in by a halo jump. That's a different scene. That scene's not in the movie. It's actually handled differently, which I think is kind of weird because I thought it was really cool when they were like outside. I don't know why they went about the way they did, but I'm sure they had their reasons. I mean, it's not like Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, where they literally cut out parts of the movie that are like relevant to the plot that were in the trailers. This one it's just minor things, and then there's some shots in the movie that in the trailer there was something, it was lacking something, and then in the final product, there's something there. It's different, but it makes sense in context of the movie, and I thought it was really cool how they did it. Even though the trailers are misleading to what the actual like plot of the movie is, kind of. But other than that, it's really, really, really well done. It's not. I'm not saying that's a negative thing. It's good to like. It was a nice way to like confuse the audience and expect one thing, but then it's like a plot twist basically. It's a plot twist that's not in the movie. One minor gripe I had with it though is that I know the movie's titled Godzilla, but they also refer to him as Gojira, which is his original name. The Japanese people call him Gojira. The Japanese man calls him Gojira, and the Americans call him Godzilla, and he is sometimes Gojira. Even Ken Watanabe at some points calls him Godzilla, which I just thought was a little weird. It's like, call him one or the other. Don't switch up the names. The reason why it's like Gojira, that's like a combination of words, gorilla and whale in Japanese. Godzilla isn't a real word at all. It's just something that's made up. Like, and they don't even say, like, someone accidentally says Godzilla at some point, so that's just what they call him. No, it's like they literally say Gojira, and then other people say Godzilla. It just, in context of the movie, it doesn't make sense. I think it just would have been better off if they just called him Gojira or Godzilla right from the start. I would prefer it if they just called him Gojira, because, like, that's his name. That's Godzilla's real name. It's Gojira. But other than that, it's not that big of a deal. It's nothing that breaks anything or anything like that. It's not going to deduct the points of score I'd give it or anything like that. It was just a minor little thing that kind of like had my brain just like, that doesn't make sense. Call them one or the other. Like I said, I prefer they call him Gojira. And even in the movie they call him Gojira throughout it, but then other people call him Godzilla. But other than that, no big deal. Not a big deal at all. Just don't even worry about it. It's not a big deal. Who's saying it's a big deal? It's not stupid as in the Roland Emmerich movie. Now, I love this movie because it just shows America can, in fact, make a really good, fantastic Godzilla movie. This is spectacle beyond spectacle. Godzilla, when he does his thing, he wrecks it hardcore. It's a slow burn movie, just like the original film. And then the climax at the end is fantastic. This is a character story, and the characters are really well done, even if Aaron Taylor Johnson, I think is his name, Aaron Taylor Johnson, he can be a little bleh, but I kind of see it as he's just emotionally drained at this point. He just came back from a tour, and now he has to deal with this. He has to get separated from his family, deal with his dad, and then this whole stuff starts happening. So he's kind of just emotionally drained. That's how I see it. Because in the beginning of the movie, you see him like he's like all happy and like charismatic, stuff like that. But then when all the stuff starts going down, you can tell he's just like straight faced. So I kind of had the feeling that like his character would just be emotional drained at this point, because I would be, in all honesty. Elizabeth Olsen was really good, and surprisingly she's like the only Olsen sister that I would consider to like be an actual actress who has any talent. The other two, I don't even care about the other two. The other two are like so irrelevant at this point. Like, Elizabeth Olsen is the one that should be going on to be doing great things, and she's playing Scarlet Witch in the next Avengers movie, which is awesome. So high props to Elizabeth Olsen. The other two, don't care about you. Anyways, Bryan Cranston. One thing I have to say, if you're going in this movie to see Bryan Cranston, he's not in it that much. Really, that's not a major spoiler. I'm sorry, but he really is not in the movie that much. And his mom, when he's younger, the lady that plays his mom, I forget her name. Mrs. Brady, we're just going to call her. she did a really good job, and yes, she dies. That's also in the movie. It's also in the trailers. Ford Brody, that character's really cool. His wife, his father, and even his son. Like, he wasn't some annoying little kid that are in most of these kaiju movies. I just thought it was a wonderful film, and I definitely recommend everyone go see it. Be wary though, this is a slow burn film. If you're not into that, you're not going to like this. This isn't a constant fast-paced action film. It has great action scenes in it, and also find a theater that doesn't darken their screens, because that was the kind of theater I saw this in. I should have known that they were going to darken the screen again. I thought they weren't going to. I was hoping they wouldn't, but they did. So hopefully when I see it again, it'll be on a big, bright screen where I don't have to worry about it being dark and not being able to see much of anything in certain scenes, because there is a few scenes that are shot in the dark. If the screen was brighter, it'd be completely clearer to see. But not a gripe on the movie. It's not the movie's fault. But anyways, I give Godzilla a perfect score of 5. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It is worth seeing, especially if you're a Godzilla fan. This beats Cloverfield was the most recent American kaiju, just genuine kaiju film that we've had. This blows this right out of the water. This is Cloverfield times a million, basically. Check it out, and I'll catch you later.